So I was writing this novel, and I knew it took place in this small seaside town that was kind of modeled off of the North Shore of Boston. And I knew there was something bugging my main character. I knew she wasn't really herself. And I realized that she was grappling with her mother's failing health. And this was a state that I really recognized as it was something I deeply felt when I was grappling with my own mother's illness, not from dementia, but from breast cancer. So my mother was diagnosed with breast cancer when I was 22. I had just graduated from college. My parents were divorced. So I became one of the primary caretakers for the next, actually fewer than 18 months or so that she suffered and then unfortunately passed from the disease. But rather than write about breast cancer, I wanted to explore the idea of these feelings of loss of identity and disorientation and confusion that consumes a child, even an adult child, who becomes a caretaker of an ailing parent. And because one of the themes I was exploring was loss of self and loss of identity, I chose dementia as the illness because I felt like that really amplified the theme of loss of identity, because of course the person who is suffering from dementia also experiences a loss of identity, disorientation, and confusion. So a way to kind of amplify that theme. I read this I thought it was really, really helpful, amazing book, and it's called Thoughtful Dementia Care, Understanding the Dementia Experience. She just did an amazing job of really spelling out memory processes and how short-term memory works versus long-term memory, procedural memory. So, many of Alzheimer's patients, if they've done things over and over and over again, like playing the piano or driving certain locations, they can remember that because it's built into almost like their long-term memory. And then many of those resources, or maybe even all of them, talked about the necessity to really almost do like improv, sort of go with the cues that the person with dementia is giving you. And so rather than sort of have this fight over, oh, you need to have dinner. I just had dinner. You need to have dinner. No, I just had it. No, you didn't. This sort of fight, really sort of learning to kind of improv those moments, go with the flow, change the subject to keep it light. Like the tone will really matter with people with Alzheimer's. So if you're grumpy with them because they've repeated themselves 20 times, they will remember that feeling of you being grumpy and angry, and then they'll associate that with you when they see you. But if you just kind of act with loving compassion and almost like you would a new baby who doesn't have the ability to express oneself or doesn't remember in quite the same way, it becomes a much better and a whole different experience. I had read about how music especially can trigger kind of long-term memories that will bring the dementia sufferer back to, I guess I would say, a happier state. So there's a dance scene, right, with Larissa's mother and father, and they're playing a song and she's dancing quite comfortably with her husband, and there's sort of a joy that can still come out in those moments. And that was, again, something that I found really, really interesting and fascinating, how music and dance, and as you said, the arts can be a source of healing and comfort for people suffering with dementia. Not only people suffering, but the caretakers as well. People, I think, have a fundamental misunderstanding of what dementia is like, and I think educating people and empowering them with tools that will help them deal and care for the people who are suffering with dementia would be immeasurably valuable. Yeah. Ultimately, this is a really hopeful book. It tackles some difficult subjects, and the struggle is a hard one. I think actually readers will come away with it with a sense of renewal and kind of a promise that when times are hard, we can find relief in facing our vulnerabilities and connecting with those we love. And, I even felt this way with my mother when she was sick with cancer. It's incredibly hard, but to learn how to be with people in their vulnerable moments and be there with them is massive, I think.